Hey guys, welcome back. I'm finishing up on these buildings I'm making, this terrain for my winter maps. Let me just switch on the light here. So, if you see my previous videos, you will note the difference. And what I've done now is basically add a spray paint. Yeah, this is my workspace, so I spray paint black for all the shadows and to get behind in all the cracks, and then with with matte white on top of that, and you get this very nice effect of like the ground. First of all, everything is just highlighted, and second of all, you get a really nice effect of a winter sort of ground that's really frozen. This is my trench, and I'm pretty happy with these actually, because they came out really nice. Another house. So what I basically did was just quickly with the matte white, give it some quick sprays. So the only thing left on these is just the detail work of the paint, like the wood on the here on the roof, some rust and metallic colors on the actual trench support. I don't know the word for it in English. So, and another thing I like to tell you is that if you have Americans like Shermans and you have Russians, you can actually use your Sherman tanks and mix them up with the Russians. Because between 1941 and 1942, because of the German invasion in the Soviet Union and their racing at high speed, Stalin was forced to displace his factories from west to east. And what that gave him was the Soviet Union was left with a insanely huge production gap on which they could not keep up with the Germans anymore because their losses during that first year were too great. So the United States gave him tons of Sherman tanks and Studebaker trucks, and there's even German soldiers reporting up to the Battle of Berlin 1945 that they were engaged by Russian Sherman tanks that they used. They also had Studebaker trucks and other equipment, but the Russians still preferred their own T-34 tank as they were much more maneuverable, they were lower profile, and they had sloped armor, so they were better protected against direct shots from the German tanks at the front. And the Shermans were basically just coffins, and even the Germans named them Tommy Cookers. And this was because of several reasons. The first one is that the Shermans use a highly flammable fuel. So if their armor would get penetrated and they would hit their fuel, it wouldn't take much to light them up and make them explode. Another reason is the Americans just basically at one point said, "Right, this is gonna be a tank. Let's build it in mass production." And although they had the M10 tank destroyers and the Pershings later on, they never really had a tank that could mount the German armor. But the strength of the United States of America was in its great numbers and its air power. Um, but that being said, though, the Sherman tank was not a very good tank during World War II. While the T-34 is one of the finest tanks ever produced. Now, thanks for watching. That was it. And stay tuned. Bye bye. Have a nice day.